Good morning, Rotarians and guests. Welcome to the Rotary Club of Hudson. I'm Ron Strobel, the Sergeant at Arms. Our invocation this morning is by Catherine Sines.
Good morning, Rotarians.
Good morning.
I was trying to think of what to do this morning, and I thought I found a perfect poem. It's a spring poem. Oh, give us the pleasure in the flowers today, and give us not to think so far away. As the uncertain harvest, give us here, all simply by the springing of the year. Oh, give us pleasure in the orchard white, like nothing else by day, like ghosts by night. And make us happy in the happy bees, the swarm dilating around the perfect trees. And make us happy in the darting bird that suddenly above the bees is heard, the meteor that thrust in with needle bill and off a blossom in mid-air stands still. For this is love, and nothing else is love, the which it is reserved for God above, to sanctify to what far ends he will, but which only needs that we fulfill. By Robert Frost.
Thank you, Catherine. Well, please join me in the pledge and the four-way test. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And the four-way test of the things we think, say, or do. First, is it the truth? Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships? And fourth, is it beneficial to all concerned? We do not have Dick Pearsall here this morning, do we? So we have Chris to lead us in song.
Let's see if we know the lyrics. You're a grand old flag.
Okay.
Ready? You're a grand old flag, you're a high-flying flag, white and blue, where there's never a postcard around. So let all acquaintance be forgot. Keep your eye on the grand old flag.
I think we need the words. We know what they are, but we don't know where to say them. And our president, Dave Basil.
Thank you, Ron. Good morning, fellow Rotarians.
Good morning, David. Morning, Mr.
It was a gallant effort on the song. Thank you to those of you who hummed along even if you didn't know the words. It is a great day. The Indians won their home opener, so they are back above 500, and we will hope they stay there the rest of the season. Changing the order just a little bit today, we have Mr. Sogan back from his winter sojourn for Fine Day. So get out your bucks. My wife and I were in Hawaii in March. We didn't see shirts like that even in Hawaii. And for that comment, I know I already owe you $1.
If I could have Jim and Joe stand and start collecting. I don't know what it is, but when I go down to Florida, for some reason everybody knows, and I'm from Ohio. I couldn't figure out why that is. Obviously the weather was great and had a wonderful time. It's super to be back here, and this is a tremendous responsibility, so I'll try to do it justice. Fine Day again. The cause today is going to be the Hudson High School Students Assistance Fund. This helps needy students with materials and books and different items in regards to their school requirements. The Fine Day rules are the fines are $1 to $2, the max of $5, unless you would like to make a donation, and we've had that in the past in regards to somebody with a special gift. Any disagreements with the fine master must be made in writing 8 days prior to the next meeting. A panel of one will review the matter once and for all. Additional fines can be added to the defendant's totals. So please remember that if you disagree with the fine master. A couple of announcements. We have a lot of high school activities going on now, despite Tom Tobin's coaching of his son, Robbie. Robbie's in the first doubles team and having a great deal of success. So they're full go right now. The weather is definitely improving. So we've got baseball and softball, boys and girls lacrosse, boys and girls rugby, boys and girls track and field. That are all active this spring. So if you're looking for something to do in the afternoon, it is an outstanding opportunity to see some of our student athletes in action. So please make sure you take time to do that. Another thing that's happening tonight is that the Ohio State Glee Club, the men's Glee Club, is performing at the auditorium. Today they are working with our choirs throughout the day, and the joint choirs will be performing this evening at 7 o'clock. The cost is $8. It should be an outstanding show, so if you enjoy great music and choirs, might be something that you would consider doing. Again, 7 o'clock tonight, and it's $8. Great job by Joe Boisel. Let's have a nice hand for Joe while I was gone. I understand while I was in Florida, there was a unanimous vote to keep Joe as the fine master. I don't feel very badly about it, but Joe, $2 for trying to take my job there, buddy. If you look around, please, Jim and Joe, no pins, no badges. If everybody could hold up their dollars. I did give Jim a couple of bucks because I didn't have my pin and badge last week. I couldn't even find them when I got back. A couple of things from the hub. We have nice pictures here, and I'll get James Fields the next round, but very nice picture of him and his wife with the Toast of Hudson. And it's also mentioned here, Dave Basil, no picture, therefore no pin, no badge. Dave, $1. Okay, Stu Murray. Oh, I wanted to mention this too. Last week, Stu, in typical form, won our 50-50 raffle. I was right behind him in line, and my quotable quote was, "Watch Stu win and me lose by one number." And lo and behold, Stu won the pot, and it was one number away from mine. So Stu, wonderful job winning last week. Give Joe $2. Okay. All right, we've got a great picture. I had to go back a little bit, and maybe this was already fine, but we've got the Rotary four-way speech contest. All of our students that were participating from Western Reserve Academy in the high school, great article about it. They even mentioned some of our members, and let's see who we have here. Jim Ahern mentioned, no picture, no badge, it's $1. And who else was with you? Well, Jay Yard and George Snyder, I'll hit them up next time around, but same thing. A very nice job that you guys did on that particular venture, and hopefully, again, we continue that tremendous tradition. On the 29th, we had Destination Hudson had a very nice article, and that would be our treasurer is also the treasurer of Destination Hudson. Is that right, Chris? Okay. Very nice. It's mentioned over here, but there is, and actually is mentioned that you're a member of Rotary, but no picture, therefore no pin. $2. Oh, she wrote a check. Is that for $100? All right. Very nice. Yeah. Okay. While I was gone, let's see. We've got a new member, Clinton Samuel. Great article. Where's he at? Clinton. Outstanding article over there. And I could definitely see the red badge. But because of the way you're turned, I cannot see your pin, and it has to be verified by the fine master. So, Clinton, that's $2 for you, buddy. Oh, also in that, they do mention Rich Warfield. Once again, Rich, great job in regards to our membership, and no pin, no picture. Pay Joe $1. Evan, who's on that committee, wasn't even mentioned. Yep, pay up there, big guy. Okay, we've got a couple of things here. One is Phil Tobin, many of you know, is a proud member of St. Mary's Parish. What you didn't know, he is an advisor for one of the convents up in Cleveland. And basically, he's there. I wanted to give you credit for it. You do a great job with it. So he ends up, again, assisting in various roles in the administration in this particular convent. And years ago, Sister Mary Margaret became a nun and applied for this particular convent. And the main vows are service and silence. You're not allowed to speak. So Phil met with her and talked her through the whole thing in regards to all the requirements. And at the end, she fulfilled, everything, and she was very enthusiastic, a very young nun, ready to go. So he invited her to join the vocation. And he also mentioned that every 5 years, you were allowed to say 2 words. So after 5 years, Phil met with her and said, again, is there anything you would like to say? And her 2 words were, bed hard. So Phil said, by golly, we'll take care of that. We'll get you a new mattress, and we'll get you all fixed up. Okay, thank you very much. 10 years. He met with her and thanked her for her dedication and her service and asked her if she had another 2 words to say. Food cold. Phil said he would speak to the kitchen and make sure the temperature was raised on the food and make it acceptable for her. Another 5 years go by, and it's the 15th anniversary, and Phil was, just really excited about her 15 years of service, and said, would you like to say anything at this time? I quit. Phil was taken back. He looked at her and said, well, I think that would be best. You've done nothing but complain since you've been here. Phil, $2 for you, big guy. I don't know whether Joe did this, but we're going back to our quotes, our famous quotes. Some of you, again, may, in the past, again, this is for your knowledge and expanding, your breadth of, what you entail in regards to your wisdom, and also remind you a little bit about your memory. So far, since I've been doing this for the last year, it hasn't gone real well. So I tried to get some simple ones today. Some of you, the first two, some of you may have been in school with these two particular things. You have 5 seconds to answer. We're going to divide the room in half. So Phil, from you over, Joe's going to be collecting the fines there. If you get the answer to the quote, they pay. If you miss it, you pay $1. You have 5 seconds to get the correct answer. This is in regards to art, and again, there are a lot of artsy people here. Don't only practice your art, but force your way into its secrets. Art deserves that, for it and knowledge can raise man to the divine. You have 5 seconds. Bam. Adriana, one of our high school students. Yes.
Ludwig van Beethoven.
Beethoven. How come you guys didn't know that? $1 for each, please. Put your dollars up. Dollars up. Okay, over on this side. This one's easy. Beethoven. Okay, very good, Jim. The aim of art is to represent not the outward appearance of things, but their inward significance. You have 5 seconds. Andy Warhol. Excellent guess. Aristotle. Okay, $1 for everybody here, please. Raise your hands. Okay, one more round. That went really well. Once again, I think we're 0-for on this thing. The only way we won, I think David Basil cheated on one several months ago. This is in regards to fitness.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay, Joe, have you collected the money?
No, he hasn't.
Man,
He hasn't been around.
boy, I'll tell you.
Find him.
Jim, you want to sprint up here and grab dollars over here? These. Joe, you're not supposed to be making change. Just take the 20 and tell him you get it back later.
He wasn't giving up on it.
Okay. This is fitness. The first time I see a jogger smiling, I'll try it. Whose quote is it?
Mine.
Andy.
Adriana.
Joan Rivers.
Joan Rivers. Look at our high school student, for crying out loud. She doesn't even know who Joan Rivers is, and she's picking these things up over here. Okay, that's $1 for everybody over here again. Joe, keep moving. Keep moving. Come on, son. Come on. Okay, over on this side while we're waiting for Joe to collect the dollars. Do you pass the basket at church, too? I mean, what is this? The service must last for hours, for gosh sakes.
That way the sermon's a lot shorter.
Jeez, I guess. I don't think that's ever stopped them, Andy. Okay, over here. My idea of exercise is a good, brisk sit. Chris, Andy Warhol. No. Beep. Adriana.
Phyllis Diller.
Phyllis Diller. Okay, $1 over here. Come on, guys. Fess up. That sure went well. I think we're 0 for about 40 on my little quote things here. All right. Let's get back to... Got to find the correct page.
We're done with that?
Okay, we're done with that. We got everything? All right. You might have heard this already. It was on the news. But Phil Warburton was driving down the highway, and as always, he's going 90 miles an hour. His cell phone rang. Answering, he heard his wife's urgent voice warning him. Philip. She calls him Philip. I just heard on the news that there's a car going the wrong way on Interstate 77. Please be careful. He replied, that's not the worst of it. It's not one car, it's hundreds of them. Where's Phil? All right. Pay $2 there, Phil, for going the wrong way. This goes back to Father Joe again. This was last weekend's sign. out in front of his church. He's got one of those big illuminated signs. He goes, "Whoever keeps praying for snow, we're impressed. Now pray for world peace." That was after that snowstorm on last Thursday and Friday. Joe, pay a buck. Bad boys table. And unfortunately, again, we're missing some of our key members here. And Donna, thank you for joining the group over there, because they're normally out of control. But unfortunately, you're in that group now, so you're going to get fined. This was a quote that I overheard. I was sitting over here, but I overheard it this morning. "I don't like to think before I speak. I like to be just as surprised as everyone else about what I say." $1 for everybody at that table. I think Jim McKay, I thought it was Jim Young. Bad girls table over here. Quote from today. Why, one of them asked the question, and she had the answer. Why did God create man first? Because he needed a rough working model before created the perfect specimen of the species. Woo! $1 from each one of these guys. Jim Lang, back over here. Jim went to the dentist, and the dentist said, "You need a crown." Jim replied, "Finally, someone who understands me." That's $2, Jim. That's a little cocky back there. Okay, we got birthday hats. All right. Peter Goheen. Where you at, Pete? Happy birthday on the 4th? Is that correct?
No.
When was it? Is it?
Coming. It's not here yet.
It's coming. Okay, it's wrong on the website. Please correct that. You have a birthday wish?
Not yet.
Not yet? Okay. He's got the wrong date on the website. No, birthday. It's April for birthday, right? Yeah, okay. Pay $2. You got the wrong thing there. Doug McDowell, I thought I saw him walk in. Doug, your birthday's on the 18th?
Yep.
Correct, over there. His is right, yours is wrong. $2, Doug, for showing him up. That's very, very callous. Liz isn't here. She's got her 1-year anniversary. Roseanne, 4 years anniversary coming up this month. And James Field, who isn't here, he keeps ducking out on all these Fine Day things. So, let's sing happy birthday to our fellas here. Happy birthday. Oh, wait a minute. Ho, 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 ho. Come on, we can't do what we did over at the beginning. Volume. Happy birthday to you. Louder, louder. Happy birthday to you. These are two great guys. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you. Yeah. Ooh, that was great. Okay. Any happy news? This is a time when we, say something nice about you or your family, something great happened in your life, make a little donation to the cause. Gail.
Yes. Okay, Mr. Finemaster. That boys lacrosse team is doing very, very well. And there's a young man who is a senior who's recently scored 4 goals in 1 game, and his name would be Cole Miller, and he is my grandson.
There you go.
Oh. So that's $1 for each goal?
Very good. Anybody else with happy news? Liz.
See my granddaughter Sophie from Michigan last week, and she's just a sweetheart. So I was glad because I haven't seen her in a while.
She was in for spring break?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Anybody else?
Hey, Ed, I got some bad news.
I'm back.
I've been brokering this deal with Father Joe to take your job,
Yes.
and he agreed with it if you take his job at the Anglican Church. And that was going to work until you walked in with that shirt today and he said the deal's gone.
I thought that was a party church over there, so Anybody else for happy news? And Jim.
Grandson, Monday. New one.
Okay. Coming up, or just had it?
Just happened.
Okay, I thought you were predicting. I didn't know.
Midnight last night from Virginia.
Very good. All right. Oh, and I forgot, we had in today's paper, hot off the presses, Dave Basil presenting proclamations to a couple of people, big smile on his face, big Hudson pin on one lapel, no Rotary pin, $1 for each one of those pictures. He does have a great smile. Thank you all. Oh, wait a minute, I got one last thing. Since David likes to spread some good information, Good friends are like rare jewels of life, difficult to find and impossible to replace. God bless. Have a great day.
Ed, what'd you do with the $5 I gave you before? I gave it to Jim. He put it in his pocket. Yeah.
Oh. We had a picture of Adriana playing lacrosse in the paper. No Rotary pin. Thanks, Ron, for reminding me. I had it written down there. I forgot it. Ron paid the $5. That was the first initial $5. Thank you, Ron, for stepping up to the plate.
I thought you were going to pocket it.
No.
Thank you, Ed. Another entertaining fine day. Proceeds, obviously, for a very, very good cause in our community. Quick reminder, the foundation board meeting that was originally scheduled for the 19th has been moved to the 26th. So again, the foundation board meeting is rescheduled to the 26th. The club board will meet after this meeting. Update on the gala and four-way speech contest. Jim Ahern.
Wait a minute, stand up here.
You need the hat too.
Glossies for everybody. Hudson Hub.
Okay, first the four-way speech contest. Somebody here is made out pretty well, because on Friday, before it was Saturday, I was talking to, I got a message because they found out some Rotarians were going and being judges, and they were going to not have a Rotarian sitting with their student. So they said, you have to bring a Rotarian. So I'm thinking, oh, it's Friday afternoon. Who am I going to call? And my wife goes, I'll go. Can I pretend I'm a Rotarian? I said, oh, bingo. Good job. So my wife went with me. And I'm happy to report this is the 6th year in a row we've had someone made it to the finals. And there were 39 or 40, not sure what's the number, 39 or 40 competitors across all of northeastern Ohio. Maria Zhao, out of the 6 finalists, she got 5th. She did a great job. There was some really, really tough competition. So did well again. We haven't missed the finals for the last 6 times. So she did a great job. She sang. She kind of cracked when she was singing because there was about 200 people there. And but she did a fabulous job, and her parents were there, really proud of her. She had to leave at 2:30, so she was worried about leaving. They said it'd be done at 3. We were done at 1:30. And she had the kind of talent she has. She had to leave then because she's in the Junior Cleveland Orchestra, and she couldn't miss this practice, so you didn't get to go on with them. So she had to leave right after, and she had to bring in her violin because it was too cold outside to leave it outside. It won't play right, I guess, if you have it out in the cold. And after that, she had to play. She was playing first violin in the orchestra for Les Mis that night. So very talented young lady. And she's a junior. She may be back next year. Okay, Ron, where's Ron? There you are. Can I talk about the gala? All right. We're getting close. We've got actually 2 weeks left. We've got today to turn in gifts. We've got 2 weeks to make contacts and collect gifts. The 26th is the last day, right? To collect. So we still have a long way to go. And I guess the point is that if you wait too long, you know, they say that old bumper sticker, it says something happens. Oh, the person has to meet, he's gone for a week. And so if you wait till the end, you know, stuff that's out of your control can happen. So we have 3 out of 5 captains here. So Joe, why don't you give a quick report from your Zappies Tars?
Can you hear me? We've made 21 contacts, 9 gifts so far. I haven't heard from 4 of our people, so if you'll get to me, we may have a bigger score. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Doug?
I don't have the numbers with me, but we had a pretty good number last week. We've added a little to that. I'll get back to you.
Okay. Roseanne?
Drake's Dynamos, we have 53 gifts all listed on our list, and we have 29 of them in, and everybody is making their contacts. And I would just urge everybody, don't limit yourself to the businesses that you've been assigned. You know, if you have frequent a business or know a business owner, please go after them and ask them. And if for some reason it has already been contacted, just thank them very much for their support.
Well, I will keep asking the captains. Yeah, Doug.
Do you have any idea how many tickets have been purchased?
I don't, but maybe Ron's going to talk about that.
Not nearly enough.
No, not enough. I guess that's a bottom line is we're got some purchased. We've got some of our gifts collected. We've got a lot, but not all of our places contacted. So to Ron's theme, at this point, it's all not nearly enough. And so let's not wait till it's not any time left. Then it will be a problem. And we've got a long way to go still to get to 64,000, right?
Right.
64,000, so.
Thank you, Jim. Ron Strobel, if you'd introduce our gift of life guest.
Back to the tickets. I doubt very much that we've sold 30 tickets so far, looking at the emails that have come from Gesture. So, and I can tell you that 4, 6, about 8 of those are not even Rotarians. So, very poor sign up so far from the Rotarians. Please get online and do it. This morning we are privileged to have with us Ken Fogel, who's the chairman of Gift of Life Northeast Ohio, and they are one of our primary beneficiaries, as they have been for the last 10 or 11 years. So we're really glad to be part of that program, and glad that you're here this morning, Ken.
Thank you.
So Ron asked me to give you a quick update of what Gift of Life is about, and a couple times I've done this. We have a new video which I'd like to share with you, but before I do, just a quick reminder that you've been involved for almost 15 years now, and Jimmy Sutliff used to be my primary contact with your club, and you've been supporters since the very beginning when we were bringing children into Rainbow Babies. Much of our work today is with Akron Children's Hospital, and I think I've shared with you before. Originally, we were bringing children in from the developing world with congenital heart defects to repair their hearts, usually one surgery, and they're done. They're good. They're fixed for life. What we've focused on now is trying to reach out and establish children's heart surgery centers in the developing world communities that we're working with. And the latest effort is with Akron Children's in partnership with St. Damian's Hospital in Haiti. And if I can run this short video, we had a film team down in January in our last surgical team, and they'll give you, that's partway through it, so you might want to put it back to the beginning. And we'll share with you what this film team, this is a quick clip they gave me. They got so enthusiastic, they're working on a documentary we hope will be ready for the Chagrin Documentary Film Fest in October. So this is, got to go back to the beginning, but I don't know if you can push it back a little bit. It says it's at 0, but Jacqueline's in the process. Hit the play and see if it'll do it. Well, that's not doing it. These things always work perfect until it's showtime.
Let me try to bring it up again on the hard drive.
Set frozen. Jump drive.
Okay, that didn't come on. Let me try to. Thank you. Okay. Straight over.
So while she's playing with that, we've had, since we began in 2002, we have affected the lives of almost 1,600 children now. Began with our bringing children in from all over the world. We've done about 60 in Northeast Ohio who have come in for heart surgery. Our Egyptian Heart Center, which was the first one we've set up, has been doing about 300 children on their own now since we began. And what we helped them do initially was to set up a surgical center, and they have now built a children's heart hospital at Asyut University in Egypt. So they're doing great work on their own. We have one in Nicaragua, and this is the film ready to roll, so we'll let it run, if it'll come. There we go.
Most of the children of the world do not have access to any kind of cardiac care, and 1 in 100 kids is born with some kind of heart defect. In our country, on birth, we fix it, but there are no pediatric cardiothoracic surgeons in Haiti.
About 500 children are born every year with some kind of congenital abnormalities in the heart, and they need a specialized care that is not available at all in the country. What does that mean? The implications? High mortality rate, and mostly for children, the most vulnerable population out of vulnerability, if I may say.
Those are children in great need, children who deserve a chance at life.
And you have no idea what that child's capacity is going to be and what they're going to become. So our opportunities to open doors for people who have capacity is what Gift of Life is about.
In the world, we have to share capacity. One nation is great at this, one nation is great at that, one nation is greater at another thing. We have to share capacity. A richness shared is a real beautiful goal as a human family.
Gift of Life's primary purpose is to deal with repairing children's hearts in the developing world. When Gift of Life began, we were bringing children from Haiti and from other parts of the world into Cleveland and to have surgery at Rainbow Babies and Children's University Hospital. We could do 1 or 2 children a year, and that's great for those families and for that kid, but it does nothing for when they go back home. So we're beginning to slowly turn over the skill set to the local Haitian team to be able to do what needs to be done.
We have brought back about 20 Haitians for training in our hospital, all sponsored through Gift of Life, Northeast Ohio, and Rotary International.
They've done this twice now where they've come to Akron for extended stays working on children's hearts while they're in Akron.
Un pile bénéfice, il y a un pile expérience que votre faire, il y a un pile balaye que moi, que votre co-héros, il y a un pile balaye que pas jeune, pour jeune, par rapport avec sorti dans l'excès, sur l'autre, par rapport à.
Their abilities to do more offer them opportunities to do more to help others in healthcare areas.
Currently, for instance, thanks to Gift of Life, one of the pediatricians of Zambia is studying to become the first pediatric cardiologist of the country.
It's very, very important to have a pediatrician in cardiology to see this patient, because we have a lot of children that who have cardiopathy, congenital cardiopathy, and we don't have doctors who can care of this patient.
Our goal is for Haitians to be providing health care to Haitians, so that we're not the healthcare providers, we're enabling the local healthcare community to be able to do more of their own.
We're gonna help a lot of children, and we're gonna save a lot of lives, and we have no enough words to say thank you.
Nous-mêmes haïtiens, nous hospitaliers, et nous-mêmes accueillir les gens, et nous apprécions ça pour nous faire pour nous. Si nous baillons accueil pour nous, ça veut dire qu'on va venir de façon genre ça être nous nous-mêmes capables de continuer à ça en faire.
It's unbelievable how much that we've achieved in such a short time. We're so far ahead of where we thought we'd be because of the local skills and the local desire to make things happen and our ability to just kind of support what they want to do. It's really worked well. It's extraordinary. This is good stuff. Our effort here is that we're trying to empower Haitians to serve Haitians. We're not trying to empower us. This is not about us doing a good deed. This is about us facilitating their ability to do what they're capable of.
So that's what you're giving to, and we thank you very much for your support. It's incredible what's going on. And all those players you saw in there are either Haitians who have been here in Akron or Akron Children's Hospital members who have been in Haiti. And it's all been done through Rotary grants and a vocational training team exchange. And it's extraordinary what's going on. We've had more than 40 children in Haiti who have had open heart surgery already. And it's going to just keep continuing. So thank you for your support. Thank you.
Thank you for what you're doing. I think, I don't know, maybe when you're 83 years old, you start to appreciate things. But what you're doing is absolutely amazing. It's everything about what Rotary is. Thank you for doing that.
I appreciate that, and we couldn't do it without Rotary. It's that Rotary network. We have Rotarians in Haiti who are partners when we start, and it's that Rotary network that makes it work, so I'm glad to be part of it.
It's
Thank
really
you.
good. Congratulations.
Thank you for the kind words, Phil. Ken, thank you very much for being here, for sharing with us. It's our privilege to again have Gift of Life as one of the signature beneficiaries for our most important event of the year. So thank you again for being here this morning. To introduce today's speaker, Ed Sogan.
It's my privilege to introduce Brant Evans, a graduate of Hudson High School in 1990. I got to know Brant back when he was a third grader and his brother was in fourth grade and were water boys for us. At the games, my wife would give me the water boy report. It was August, tremendous heat during the games, and they would squirt water bottles on each other. The players got none. By the end of the game, they were drenched. They did a tremendous job. Brant graduated and found his passion in regards to cooking and being a chef, and now an owner. He's owner of Blue Canyon and Pura Vida in downtown Cleveland. He's a Hudson resident. We're fortunate enough to have him move back into town, and that's what gives me a great deal of pleasure to see our graduates come back and raise their families here in Hudson. His wife, Kristen, is an outstanding third grade teacher. His daughter, Madison, is 13 years old and is in 7th grade. The other thing that Brant has done over the last several years is as our football team makes its way into the playoffs, he will come with his Blue Canyon crew and serve them a Thursday night meal, and it is first class. I can remember the one year that the kids, the moms normally served, but the seniors go, and then the juniors, sophomores, and then the coaches. And Coach Brown, who was coaching with Brant, was last in line, and the kids had piled up so much food there wasn't anything for the coaches. So that was I couldn't tell you how disappointed Coach Brown was that he didn't get the meal. He was looking for a gift certificate. Still, okay. Without further ado, with a lot of pride, Brant Evans.
Good morning, everybody. Appreciate the invite for me being here. You know, I always never can say no to Coach. We have a lot of great memories. Like Coach said, my name's Brant Evans. I'm a chef owner of 2 restaurants, Blue Canyon, that's located in Twinsburg, and Pura Vida, which is in the old May Company building in downtown Cleveland, right on Public Square. But to rewind a little bit, how I got to this part of my life, the past 30 years, real quick. We grew up on Barlow Road. My parents moved here in '72, Bernie and Barbara Evans. My dad was a construction worker. Comes up about here. I don't know how he got all 3 boys my size. Still scared that, you know, he could still take me down if I misbehave. Still a tough guy. And I was 15 years old and wanting to go to homecoming. And I said, Dad, I want to borrow some money. I want to buy tickets to homecoming and a flower for this really good-looking girl. He said, go get a job. So I got on my bike and went down Stony Hill, and a restaurant was just opening called the Inn at Turner's Mill. It was right in the beginning. I walked in and said, I need a job. The guy's like, great, I need a dishwasher. Where do you live? Hudson. Wow, we don't find a lot of dishwashers in Hudson because everyone already have cars and everything like that. So I started washing dishes. Through my past in school, I had attention deficit. really had a lot of learning disabilities, couldn't sit still, couldn't really focus. And I found complete peace when I got into a restaurant. If anyone's worked in the back of a restaurant, it's almost like an emergency room. It's mass chaos, but with direction. And the chef is leading all of us on. So I started washing dishes, started seeing all this craziness going on, and asked the chef, hey, I want to start cooking. He's like, you want to start cooking? Yeah, I want to be like that, because the servers, the good-looking girls, would talk to all the cooks. So I just wanted to hurry up and become a cook, because I was excited. So he threw out 20-pound bags of onions on the table. He said, start peeling them. I'm like, no, I want to be up there where the pans are flashing, and the server's like, where's my table? And he's like, no, you're starting here. So about 6 months of onion peeling and garlic, he would pull me aside, and the chef was named Tom Ward. He would pull me aside, and we would do wine dinners. Now, all the other cooks were all busy putting out normal dinners, so I would help the chef create and do wine dinners, which was the high-end part of the meals. So at my first experience, at 15, I didn't really tell a lot of teachers. At 16, I was drinking wine on a Thursday night, just a little sip, and tasting venison, or tasting, spaghetti squash, wild mushrooms, and really understanding flavor profiling. To this day, probably the strongest part of my cooking is flavor profiling, of drinking a bottle of wine and knowing, okay, that needs to have a little lavender, we need some roasted garlic, and really visualizing the flavors. So I have to give that to Tom Ward. So I went through the Turner's Mill, and at this time my dad started working at Akron U, and he worked for the facilities plant. Basically all the water fountains you see at Akron U, he repaired them and worked on parking decks and stuff like that. And he took that job so his kids could go to college for free. So, here I am, graduate of 1990, and all my friends are going to Miami University, Colgate, Ohio State, and I'm going to Akron U. And I first started, believe it or not, criminal justice. And sat in class, and I'm like, this is entirely way too boring for me. I don't understand it. So I'd leave Akron U and go back to Turner's Mill and keep cooking. Well, I decided I want to be in culinary school. So I came home and I said, Dad, I want to go to culinary school. He's like, what the hell is that? And this is before the whole chef thing was cool to do, and there was no Food Network back then or any of the things that you see today. And I said, it's a cooking school, I want to become a chef. So we started researching, and Tom Ward, my mentor chef, said you need to go to the Culinary Institute of America in Hyde Park. Basically, it's the best cooking school in the world. That being said, it's what you put into it is what you get. Just because you go to Harvard doesn't mean you're going to be a great success. You have to work hard afterwards. But it was a great experience. I went to school from people with South Africa, to New Jersey, to California, to Parma. That was who was in my classroom. Went 2 years through that program. It was basically boot camp. It's funny I have a beard now, because the culinary chefs would walk up to you in class, and you had to be nicely shaven, just like military. And if a cotton swab would swipe against your face, you get kicked out of that class. We soon realized the Culinary Institute of America, CIA, stood for cash in advance. And you didn't want to call home and say, Mom, I need another $8 grand just to take vegetable ID class. So it was very rigorous, but when I learned how to make an omelet, I learned from a master chef. There's only 45 master chefs in the world. So I could be very proud and say, no, I know how to make a perfect omelet. Being taught by all these master chefs is just carrying on to tradition and really learning how to make things right. Truly helped me to this day of always following the recipe and always doing it right, never taking shortcuts. So after culinary school, I ended up down in Philadelphia, and I worked at the Four Seasons Hotel. That, if anyone's ever seen Hell's Kitchen on TV, those kitchens exist, and I worked in one. The chef de cuisine, hot temper, would throw hot ladles at me, throw spoons, and I remember walking home crying, I don't like this place. But realizing, resume. You know, I got to stick through this, and I can get through this. I'll have the Four Seasons Hotel on my resume, which is one of the greatest hotel chains out there in the world. So I finished that. I worked there about a year and a half, and I ended up going back up to New York City and walking into a kitchen, Oriel. The chef's named Charlie Palmer, world-renowned chef. I walked in, uniform, knife bag in hand, resume, and the sous chef said, "What are you doing here?" I'm like, "I want to show you how I can work." And thank goodness Charlie was there at that time. He's like, "What?" He looked at me, and I'm saying, "Hello, Mr. Palmer, you know, very nice to meet you, sir." He's like, "Call me Charlie." He's like, "Where are you from?" I'm like, "Hudson, Ohio." He's like, "I like farm boys." I didn't let him know Hudson. I let him think that bales of hay were rolling down Main Street, and you know, I had to milk cows before I went to school. And I was like, "Yes, sir, I'm a farm boy." He's like, "Because I don't like hiring West Coast boys because all they want to do is play, and East Coast boys, you know, they think they deserve everything and not work for it. So I like Midwestern boys." So I ended up working there for free for 2 weeks. After the 2 weeks, he said, "I want you to be my sous chef at one of his restaurants," which was a great honor. That's when I wish I paid attention in school in Spanish class, because my whole crew was from Mexico, and I didn't speak a lick of Spanish. I heard El Elefante El Grande. I've learned now that's elephant and big guy. And I won't repeat some of the other things, but I learned quickly how to speak Spanish, and I go back to some of my teachers and literally say, "I'm so sorry. I should have paid attention to you. Should have." But then I was I was working there for 2.5 years in New York City, having a ball, lots of work. When I say at least 80 hours a week, I might be saying probably 85. It was incredible hours. But that's all I wanted to do. I wasn't dating anyone. I wasn't doing it. I just wanted to be the best cook, best chef I possibly could be. So I just immersed myself into cooking, worked just countless hours. Then I got a phone call, and I was in the kitchen. I can remember it was like yesterday, and I answered the phone, and it's Chef Tom Ward, the guy from Turner's Mill. Well, he was opening a restaurant on Chagrin Boulevard called Ward's Inn, the old Watership Down. And he said, "Brant, I want you to be my chef." My goal was to be an executive chef by age 25. I took the position, signed the papers. I was 25 plus 3 months. So I pretty much hit my goal. Worked there for about 2.5 years. Then a gentleman was at Akron U, still working with my dad. His name's Paul Tamarius, owns Tamarius Construction Company. He was doing some bid work for my dad on a parking lot. Said, "You know, I have a restaurant down in Tremont. It just opened. It's not doing very well." Well, now my dad's like, "My son's a chef." Oh, now. So now he knows what culinary is, and you know, super proud of me. He's like, "You need to talk to my boy. He's the best in the world." Settle down, easy. So I ended up going and talking with Paul Tamarius, and before you know it, I took over their kitchen and the restaurant operations. It was a great time. We got on the Food Network a bunch of times, Gourmet Magazine, Food and Wine, got a lot of national press. And that was back, you know, a while ago, that I still kind of had a little punk rock attitude. And I remember national magazines saying, "What kind of cuisine do you do?" And I was like, "Don't label me. I hate labels." I'm like, "I don't know, Ozark Asian funk." Last year I was at a national benefit I was cooking at, and someone came up to me like, "What's Ozark Asian funk?" So you gotta be careful what you tell the press. I was like, "I don't know, like mustard greens with soy sauce," you know? So ended up working at Ward's Inn, having a great time, at Costa's, and then I met an investor. He said, "When you're ready to go out, do your own restaurant, I'm your guy. I'm giving you the money." Great. So time came, I want to do my own restaurant. Him and I walked into the bank. The bank said, "I need your house in Brecksville and your $1 million home down in Hilton Head for collateral." I said, "Brant, I can give you 20 grand, good luck." That's the reality in my world, that, we love cooking for bankers. Bankers don't like giving us cash. Just due to the fact the turnover rate in the restaurant business is so high, I wouldn't even invest myself right now in a restaurant. It's a sticky, tricky thing. So there I was without a job. And in Cleveland at that time, the only restaurants that were hiring was a Hyde Park Steakhouse or a Blue Point Group, but those menus were already developed and already created. So basically I was going to go in and be a kitchen manager. Nothing wrong with that group and people that work there, but I'm more on the creative side. I wanted control of that menu. I wanted to make my own recipes. So before you know it, at this time I got married at the Hilton Garden Inn, and the owner at the Hilton Garden Inn was Bob Volker. He also sat on the CIA board. And my father-in-law didn't want me to move his daughter and said, hey, call that mover and shaker, that hotel guy. So I called Bob Volker. I said, hey, Bob Bryant, remember? Yeah, I just want to let you know I'm in the market. He's like, perfect. I've been trying to sell this piece of property in Twinsburg, and no one has the vision for it. No one thinks it's going to be successful. So I teamed up with Bob Volker, and at that time, 12, 13 years ago, I pulled one of the biggest SBA loans out, 1.5 mil, and that's what I brought to the table. A year and a half ago, my wife and I were getting a car, and that report came up. She never knew I did that. But we're fine. We're almost paid off on that loan. She's like, you didn't tell me? I'm like, no, you wouldn't have slept. So 12 years, and then we opened Blue Canyon. Then, blink of an eye, we opened one in Missoula, Montana. Then we opened one in Kalispell, Montana. Then we opened up one in Dallas, Texas. So it was like I went upstairs with one restaurant, and the next morning I woke and I had 4 across the country. And it was absolutely crazy. It was exciting, but crazy. And this was, at the time, my daughter was just born. And it just became too much. So I talked to my partners, I want to sell my interest in the outside restaurants, just focus here in Twinsburg. I need to be home. Glad I made that decision. I was able to coach my daughter in Hilax and lacrosse, able to have dinner with my wife, and we're still happily married. So life is good with that point. the Tri-C Community College reached out to me and said, we're building a brand new culinary school on Public Square. And we want to know if you want to do a restaurant next to it, because we're going to be a center of excellence. And to be a center of excellence, you need an outside business entity to team up and incorporate some of the students. Not 100% of the students, but some of the students. I said no about 4 times because I just didn't trust the downtown market. And the 5th time they came to me, I said, okay, we'll do it. Then LeBron said no, he's leaving. And then the casino said they weren't signing. And I felt like I just signed a new SBA loan and didn't know what to tell my wife. Thank goodness the city of Cleveland has definitely rebounded and came back. And I'm going on my 5th year downtown on Public Square. It's called Pura Vida, totally different than Blue Canyon. At that time when I was concepting, everyone was talking bacon, bacon, pig, pig, pig. And I said, you know what? This is about 6 years. We're going healthy. We're going to focus on vegan, vegetarian, and really, basically organic style food. It paid off because now that's actually the rage and that's the food trend. And I'm amazed how healthy people are now eating. So it's been a great success. I do have to say, not just because Coach is here, but working in a restaurant is very hard work. It looks glamorous on TV. Cracked vertebrae, blown disc, knees are burnt. I mean, it's hard work. I finally grew arm hair back. Had scars, looked like, I got beat up. But, there are days I wanted to quit, days I wanted to leave. And I honestly have to say this, Coach. Coach Hogan was one of the greatest coaches anyone could ever have. He knew how to push you to the brink that you hated him, but then afterwards you wanted to hug him and say thank you. One last quick story, he had us do the 12-minute run, 12-minute mile. That means you had to run a mile in 12 minutes. Kids today could probably do it in 4. So that's 6 laps. I know this very well, and because I never made it, ever. And before 2 days, Coach made me go out there and run it every time before 2 days. I hate Coach so. Oh, nope, didn't make it. See you tomorrow, Brant. Over and over. The last day, all the coaches came out, all the team came out, and basically ran it with me, and I made it my very last day. And to this, I always remember that. The support, and you always believing in me, and to never, ever give up. So there's things that we all do in life, and you interact with kids and stuff. You don't truly know how impactful you really are, and memories that you'll keep forever, excuse me, that I have. So, and I have to give a huge thanks to a lot of my school teachers that believed all my blarney and stayed with me. So I'm going to open up for some questions. If we have anything about restaurants or anything.
Why did you choose the name Pura Vida, the Costa Rican theme?
So naming a restaurant's like naming a child. It's one of the hardest things to do. And I wanted to call it Roots, because, you know, any great foundation or vegetable and stuff has a great foundation. Well, I had a committee and I threw it out, and they all said that remind me of Roots with Oprah Winfrey. Like, what? No, I'm not even thinking Kunta Kinte and all that stuff. I'm thinking vegetables. So scrap that. I said I wanted to call it the Butcher's Block. People were like, no, that I think of blood. No. So I went through this whole long list of names. Got an email of a buddy that used to play at my restaurant in Dallas, a reggae guy, and he ended his email Pura Vida. I'm like, oh, that's a cool word. I looked it up. It says live today, not tomorrow. I go, that's it. Everyone thinks it's a Costa Rican restaurant now. Not good, but that's how I named it. Blue Canyon was named because Bob and I met in Atlanta to start sketching out the restaurant at the Blue Ridge Grill. In the back area where that restaurant and hotel is Canyon Falls. So Blue Canyon. That's how that name came up. So, thank you.
Thank you, Brant. Fascinating, tribute to your efforts, and thank you for being a part of Northeast Ohio and all that you do for this area. Today's jackpot we'll get to in a minute. Thanks to the greeters, Kelly Brennan and Jim Young, the AV setup crew, Den Rich, Tom Page, it was not here, sorry, Tom Tobin, James Field, Ron Barnhouse, and Ariana Bankovich, thank you again for being here. Really appreciate your help. Remember, the Foundation Board meeting is April 26th. The Rotobuck payout is $8. The jackpot is $131. Chef, if you would. And the last four, 9246. 9246. No winner today. Remember, the board has a meeting following this meeting in the Greenwood Dining Room. I'll leave you with two quick thoughts today. The first by one of the preeminent statesmen of human history, Winston Churchill. To build may have to be the slow and laborious task of years. To destroy can be the thoughtless act of a single day. And one of the great intellects of human history, little known, regarded in my opinion for his tremendous wit, Albert Einstein. The difference between stupidity and genius is that genius has its limits. With that, we're adjourned. See everybody next week.